Hey, everybody. Hey, Kate.
Hey.
Okay, so today we are going to talk about why job bidding sites that seem like such a great idea, the answer to all of our prayers, are actually really a terrible idea for trying to get clients. Now, Kate, what job bidding sites, what kind of things are we talking about here?
We're talking Upwork, we're talking Fiverr, we're talking any type of site that the client really has control over the project and you are competing with a bunch of other people in your field to land the work. And you're doing lots and lots of work to hopefully maybe, who knows, get
Hopefully,
the work.
maybe get a chance
Please.
at a project.
Yeah.
Yeah. So here's the thing. At the outset, these can seem like I was saying, the answer to your prayers. Well, I need copywriting clients. And here's this website where potential copywriting clients post projects they want to hire people for. That seems fantastic. It seems so easy. As with many things, if it seems super duper easy and maybe a little bit too good to be true, it
It
is.
is.
These sites are actually, as you'll find out, really a terrible way to land clients or to try to land clients. So let's break down how the system actually goes. The way it works is that someone who needs something written, a project written, or obviously these sites are for all different types of industries, we're focused on copywriting, needs a project written, posts information about this project on these websites. And you, as a copywriter, read this information, and it's up to you then to write a proposal. And of course, it had better be a pretty good proposal because you are a copywriter, to write a proposal and submit a proposal to hopefully get that work. Now, here's the problem though. It's not just you and this project. It's you and any number of other copywriters that are also competing with you for this project. And one of the best ways to compete on those websites is to lower your rate. Because the problem, well, one of the problems with this site, and I can tell you this because I will use these sites to find designers or developers for small projects. People who are looking to hire on sites like this are looking for the most skill they can get for the least they can pay. They are not looking to pay you well for your skill. They are looking for skill at a bargain. And that's not a position you want to be in. You will have to decrease your standard rate in order to be competitive with all these other people. You also don't know what other people are bidding.
Mm-hmm.
And where they're bidding from and what they're saying in their proposals and what the expectation is of this client. So worst case scenario, you spend a lot of time on pitch proposals, writing great proposals for work that you never get. So net income zero. Best case scenario, you get projects and you get them for a lot less than your standard rate, which means that you could be spending that time writing for your rate. Instead, you're writing these discount projects. So you're also ending up in a worse place than you would be if you were finding clients for yourself. The
Yeah.
problem is that the ratio is all wrong. It is one project and any number of copywriters competing for that one project. And what we teach is how to flip that ratio so that it's one copywriter and any number of opportunities.
Yeah, exactly. The real challenges of them are time and money, and they're tied together very closely. To your point, if you're reducing your rates, say you're taking a project for $25 instead of 50, because you feel like, oh, I really need to build my portfolio, so I should be charging 50, but I'm gonna do 25 because I really want to, have a piece to show. The issue there is then, okay, you're discounting your rates by 50%, which is insane. And that's time you could be spent prospecting, to your point, and landing clients who are willing to pay you at $50 an hour or, whatever your project rate comes to at that point. And you're in control of that. So you're accepting a lower rate when you don't actually have to, just because it seems easier, because it's a place to kind of go and put yourself out there, and people come to you in some sense of the word. but they don't actually have to then go with you.
Mhm.
And your time is money. As you are, as we teach you, you are now a business owner. You are the CEO of your copywriting business. Your time is valuable. So every minute you're spending on these sites is time you could be building your business versus putting it in the hands of strangers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that you're spending time writing proposals for discount work when you could be spending time writing pitches for clients that will pay you your rate and maybe even above your normal rate. So you could be spending your time. So again, if you're not going to get the work, you're spending your time, either work aside, you're either spending your time crafting great proposals for discount work, or you're spending your time pitching for high paying work. I mean, which one makes more sense, right?
And it can get, a little bit, you've probably seen stories. We had one person post about how working on these sites is possible to make a great living. And they've linked to an article, and I'll read you some of it here. So bear with me. There's a lot of numbers and a lot of math, but it's a great thing to dig into, to just see how just insane it is.
And we can have the link to the blog post. We'll put the link to the blog post in our notes.
Perfect. I average $60 per order, and that's counting a 100-word email. The average also includes the $5 gigs I did at first. But excluding those, I would say my average is about $100 a job right now. So if I have 27 jobs in the queue, that's $2,700. Hourly, it probably averages at about $150 to $200 an hour. I don't do $5 jobs anymore, unless it's someone I've worked with a bunch who wants me to look at a paragraph. Freelancing is very roller coaster. One day I might have 2 or 3 things to do, but I've had days when I had 27 things to do, which is an 18-hour workday. My head's hurting just saying that. I receive the most orders Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday nights. So I end up being super busy on the weekends because I usually deliver a job within 3 to 5 days. On any given day, I'll have 40 to 50 jobs in my queue. And so this is someone who said they did that math, and I believe, I'm not sure. Oh yeah, they did say they make 6 figures, but 6 figures at the cost of
18 hours a day, 40 projects is absolutely unsustainable.
I've had up to maybe 8 clients in my queue at varying stages of the project, the project timeline. So maybe one's I'm working on just minor edits to wrap it up. Maybe one's just kicking off, and one is, really in the meat of it. And that to me is, how can you deliver your best work if you have 27 projects in a queue that you have to deliver in a day, never mind 40 to 50 that are right on the heels? You are that's churn and burn.
Mm-hmm.
And for what, when you don't actually have to do it that way? I mean, we are both 6-figure copywriters, not doing it that way, because that would, that's unsustainable.
Mm-hmm. It sounds like a miserable way to live. And like you were saying, he says something about like, I average this amount of time for an email or something like that. And basically what he's saying is he's not taking time to write great emails.
Right.
And that's getting back to that idea of charging by the hour, or charging by the hour versus charging by the project. If you do a project quickly for a client, they should be paying you more because you're turning it around quickly. But you also should not be doing a project quickly for the sake of being quick, for the sake of moving on to the next project, because then you're not delivering quality projects to your clients. And why on earth should they come back if they give you a project and they get a half-assed email back? Even if they're getting a deal, they're getting an email they can't use.
Yeah. And I think it's insane when he, talks about getting orders in on Thursday nights, and that means working over the weekend. But most clients know that a project, depending on what it is, isn't going to be a 24-hour turnaround. They know that is last minute. And to your point, you're going to bump up your rate if they need it right away. Mm-hmm. So if a client comes to me and I say, hey, here's when I can deliver it, I usually, at least my schedule is at least 2 weeks out. Here's when the first moment I can fit you in. And if they need it faster, then yeah, my rate's going up. But most of them are willing to work with you. If they need something yesterday, we're not saving lives with, well, maybe we are, depending on the situation.
Depends on the project.
But, we're not in an ER room. I always like to use that analogy, because it's not generally something they need tomorrow and the business is going to fail.
Mm-hmm.
If they needed it tomorrow and the business is going to fail, that's a very poor business model. And then I'd question wanting to work with that business in the first place. So there's no reason to, I mean, if you want to work on weekends, sometimes I love working on weekends because it's quiet, no one's bugging me, there's no emails popping up, and that's fine. But that should be a choice and not, I have to do this because I have 50 things that are waiting and I need to keep up this level of work just to make the income that I want to make.
Yeah, 6 figures is a very possible goal. Probably not within your first year or two. Maybe we have students that have done it. Absolutely. Depends on how much effort you put in. But at the same time, you don't have to work 18 hours a day to get there. Why would you want to live your life like that just to hit 6 figures when you could still hit 6 figures and not have to work 18 hours a day and work, 8 or 6 or, whatever. It's just for the sake of getting easy projects on Upwork or Freelancer or one of those. It's so not necessary to live your life like that. Why would you put in all that crazy amount of effort to get discount work? When you are doing discount work, you have to put in 18 hours a day to meet those income goals. Whereas on the other side, you could be pitching for work that pays you well. And he was saying in there that he has, some clients that come back to him. There's another problem. When you are working with a client and you're charging $25 an hour instead of $50 an hour, you can't all of a sudden on the second project say, oh, by the way, my rates have doubled. With that client, you have to stick with that same rate. So every project you're going to do for them afterwards, it's not like you're going to get one client and then, woo, now my rates are going to go up. You're going to be staying with that client at lower rates. So then you're going to fill your roster with clients who want to pay you half of what you are actually worth.
And quite frankly, it doesn't give you the option then to, when I've done work with a corporate client, for example, who I know has a budget to maybe pay a little bit more, versus it gives me that power to then say, okay, you can't pay that rate, let me work with you. For maybe a small business owner who I feel like I really want to help out and it's an interesting project, then maybe my rate's going to be slightly different. Mm-hmm. And that's okay. But then I have the power to do that. I don't need to set my rate and say, here's advertise to the world, here's what I'm charging. And then be kind of locked into that. I think the other thing worth pointing out too is that, the argument that, well, once you start doing it, your pitches, your proposals get faster because, I have a template and this is what I use. But if you're just using a templated proposal, the amount of success you're going to have with that isn't necessarily going to be great when, businesses want to see that you've looked at their website, that you have, something to offer, and you're not just saying the same thing. I mean, we get it all the time in our forums on our websites where it's just a templated proposal and you think, okay, this person obviously has no idea what I do. And so similarly, you're going to be dismissed when you're not actually showing what value you can bring to that client versus any old client.
Yeah. The kinds of clients who are going to approve templated proposals are going to be pains because these clients do not know what they're doing. If they read a templated proposal and that sways them, there's a good chance that this client is maybe brand new to business, is brand new to working with freelancers, is brand new to marketing, which requires a lot more education on the part of a service provider and a copywriter, which, by the way, adds to your hours, which makes the project more expensive. When you are, and that's the problem too, is that you agree to this project, and you agree to this rate before you talk to the client. I mean, How many times times if you hopped on a call with a client and discovered the more you talk to them, the project is totally different than what they said it was originally. And then because you haven't signed up for anything, you can talk with the client and come to a reasonable agreement. But, if the client has put something into Upwork or one of those things and said, all right, this is what the project is, this is the rate, and they hire you for that, if it's a totally different project, then you either have to abandon the project or you have to try to work for this rate, and it totally goes off the rails. Clients are not experts at being clients. They are experts at whatever, hopefully they're experts at whatever industry they're in, but most clients don't know how to be good copywriting clients. It's up to us to teach them to be good copywriting clients, which is part of why that initial discovery call is so important, to really dig into what the project is, dig into who they are, what their goals are, what they're trying to accomplish. I mean, because how many times have we gotten on a call and they think they want to do one project, and you talk with them and you actually recommend that they do a different kind of project altogether. Yeah. Or they want to do this project when really they should be starting way back here, because if they don't start here, this project is going to go completely off the rails.
Yeah, 100%. One time I talked myself out of work, but I was thrilled. They didn't need a copywriter for where they were in the process. Mm-hmm. And I'd rather do that. It's not worth taking on a project that's just going to be a headache and not deliver real value to my client, than just to tell them from the get-go, hey, here's what you actually really need, and take a different direction to this.
Yeah, absolutely. Same thing. I had a call with a woman who was just starting up her business, which fine, great. I'm happy to work with clients like that. But she said, oh, I'm working with a Facebook ads person. And so what I need is a sales page. So we're going to drive Facebook ads directly to the sales page for my my $3,000 program. And I went, what? Your Facebook, you're going to drive ads to a cold audience, and you want that cold audience to go directly to your sales page and purchase $3,000 worth of training from you, not knowing anybody at all, not knowing you at all. And I said, first of all, I don't know who your Facebook person is, but this is bad advice. I said, but it's not a good plan. You don't want me to write that sales page for you, because it's not going to perform well. What you need to do first is, if you're going to run Facebook ads, run them to an opt-in. And then, not to get too into the weeds here, but the whole point of this was that, because I had this conversation with her, I realized that she had no idea what she was doing. Very, very nice woman. And, has every desire to be a good business person, but she wanted me to do this project for her that had no chance of succeeding. And on top of having no chance of succeeding, I just knew it would have been on me to do a lot of educating for how to run a business. And there's sometimes with clients like that, there's no making them happy, because their whole plan fundamentally was flawed. And I knew that because I had that conversation with her. Whereas on Upwork, if you're like, oh yeah, sales page, that's a big project. Awesome. I want to take that sales page project. If that had been something through Upwork, I would have been stuck with that project and writing a sales page that I knew 100% was going to disappoint her. There was no way I could make her happen, because someone who clicks on an ad on Facebook that does not know her at all is going to land on her page and pay her $3,000. Yep. So I knew it was going to disappoint her. I knew it was the wrong thing to do. And I could say, you know what, I don't advise that, and here's why. And then she thanked me, because I wasn't trying to sell her on something. I was giving her better advice than what she was supposed to do. Whereas on Upwork, I wouldn't have had that opportunity. I would have been stuck doing a project that was guaranteed to fail.
Yeah. And I think to that point, we often talk about, getting on the discovery call, and you can kind of with your gut feel whether it's a good mutual fit. It's not just the client looking for you, it's you determining whether you feel like you can A, add value, but B, are they good people to work with? Because, I would say the majority of my clients, lovely, lovely people, awesome to work with, very collaborative, but occasionally you'll get a client where either they're just not as respectful of your ability. They know they need a copywriter, but they don't actually want to give up that control to another expert.
Or they're flaky.
Right. Yeah. Yep. They don't get back to you right away. And so you can kind of determine these things on a call where, you might end up turning the project down because you realize, okay, this is maybe not the best fit. And I know that's very, very hard to do, especially when you're just starting out. Even when you're not, it's very hard to do when you feel like, oh, this is money. But it's not all, money. There's always going to be more clients. There's always going to be more work. So to take on things that don't bring you not only joy, but that just aren't fun to work on, it's the opposite of joy. They're a headache. They're stressful. It hurts your brain, not in a good way of kind of the challenge of copywriting. Forget that. It hurts your brain because you don't know how to best work with this client. Mm-hmm. You need that space. You need that discovery call before you commit, really understand what you're getting into.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. The long and short of it is that, yeah, you can land clients on Upwork, but what happens far more often is that you end up competing. You don't get a lot of work. You get really discouraged, or you do a lot of work for very little money, or you end up working long hours when you don't have to. More than anything else, I've heard from students who say, yeah, that's how I tried to do it because some freelance guy told me that Upwork was the place to start, and I had to start on Upwork, which, by the way, is absolutely not true. And all I got was discouraged and disheartened, and I didn't think I could do this. I thought, if this is how it has to be done, then it's impossible. And we are here to tell you definitively that not only is it not the way that it has to be done, it's the way that it should not be done, if you ask me, at least for copywriters. I'll leave other industries to speak to that, but for copywriters, it's not how you should be finding clients, especially when there's a much better, easier, and just better system all around for both you and potential clients. And it's a proven system. So it's not even, you're not throwing stuff at a wall hoping it sticks. You are putting yourself out there as an expert. You are giving value to people, which means that people, even when you haven't talked to them before, because you're providing value, they are, and I'm not talking about giving away work for free by any means, but you provide value in your pitch emails. And because you do, they're so much more receptive to that.
Yeah. And to that point, I know, we discussed something in my eye. We discussed on a previous episode about, being a copywriter, you are the expert, and that means not just in the execution of the copy, but being able to come in with those ideas and with, better ways of doing and attacking things, versus on sites like Upwork and Fiverr, you are responsible for delivery, and that is it. You become a production factory, and then that kind of strips you of that expertise that you have and, want to use and should use and can benefit them. It becomes very transactional, where it's like, hey, we need an email, deliver, versus being able to really dig in. And is an email the best thing? Would a Facebook ad better serve the purpose than this email?
That's a great point. Would you rather be filling work orders, or would you rather be a strategic partner?
Yep, exactly.
And I'll tell you too, who gets paid better, people who are fulfilling work orders or people who are strategic partners. Just before we come to the end of another episode, I want to read to you a note that came through from one of our students. We ask that you do please review us and give us 5 stars. It helps us grow and get the message out and teach more and more people about copywriting. And until we have built up our base of fabulous reviews that we can read here, we're going to read some reviews from our students. Laura, one of our Comprehensive Copywriting Academy students, had this to share about our training. She said, "It's such an amazing course. When I signed up, I didn't expect to find so much value for the money. It's absolutely thoroughly well written and in detail. All aspects of the profession are covered and much more. It's amazing." Thank you, Laura. So with that, we will wrap up today's episode, but we will see you down the road for many more. We have a ton to cover, and we're going to be here to cover it. Thanks for watching. Make sure you don't miss any tips, tools, or tactics for copywriters by clicking subscribe right now. And of course, you can always find us over at filthyricwriter.com. We'll see you next time.